Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to the final session of the day on our wonderful blue stage. There's a little photo session, I can see that right now, which is together with the protagonists of the final session. But, well, what will it be about? It will focus on shaping a smarter and more sustainable future. That's what we all want to get. How can we reach that? Well, smart ecosystems play a certain role, but we will find out more in the next 45 minutes, and we're looking forward to the opening keynote of the next session, which will be held by the Vice President E-Mobility and Powertrain Systems at Akkodis, and his name is Karoly Beres. Please give a big hand. Welcome to our stage.
Can you move a mountain? Or can you drive an electric vehicle for 1,000 miles? Those are both questions. What would you say no at the first moment? But you need to think of a smart solution for that. And then, for that, we need to consider some technologies of today. Some of them are very high-tech technologies, like using newest smartphones with even more cameras and 10 cameras on the back, or our charging devices, how we try to make it complex enough to fulfill the needs of the customers. But then there is one more technology where people are always thinking of addition. If you try to get a kid to drive or to ride a bicycle, it's pretty problematic at the beginning, so people are adding additional wheels and so on. But it's a genius solution of taking off something instead of adding always new features, and let the kids have it simple enough to be able to balance and learn it even without noticing it. None of my kids had problem with that. And that's exactly in which direction smart goes. So as a very wise person said, once everything should be made so simple as possible, but not more simple. So what does Akkodis do? Akkodis is a leader in the smart industry. And smart industry is basically using the engineering arts, engineering practices, and converting it, adding it to the IT and digital practices to find a good solution and more efficient and smart solution, utilizing all our 50,000 engineers worldwide to do this. In this effort, we are transforming different industries. What we see is that the IT and engineering technologies are converting to a digital future, using all the data, all the information to make our knowledge even more sustainable, more proficient and more reliable. The huge amount of data, what we collect and what we get by this innovation, we can use to make a more reliable world. And reliability is really a very, very important topic, as by reliability, it's always not, you can counter anxiety. And in the most new technologies, anxiety is the biggest problem. And of course, we need to do it all sustainable. Everything is going nowadays in the sustainable direction. We have recognized that we cannot do everything recklessly with our world. And the new sustainable wish is defining a lot of new problems, not a few challenges, and that's what our engineers are helping to solve. We have the first hypothesis that the electrification and autonomous driving is reshaping permanently our future. And this change is happening. We can't stop it. We won't even stop it. There is no discussion anymore if this change is happening. The question is it happening fast enough? So the question is, what can we do to make it fast enough, to make it in a way that it's accepted by everyone and that we have the same comfort what we had before? What smart solutions can we think of in this? And there we are coming to our next topic. We don't really have a range anxiety. Everybody's talking about range anxiety. We have a charging anxiety. It's not about I need to drive every day 700 kilometers. Most of the people almost never do that, maybe on holidays. We are talking about I want to know that I can reliably get from point A to point B. And I want to plan it properly. I don't want to have uncertainties where I stay somewhere. So a friend of mine has stranded in Luxembourg for several hours with the whole family. That's, of course, very uncomfortable if charging infrastructure is unreliable. So we have a research project exactly to counter this. Our Charge.com is diagnosing the charging process, diagnosing the battery capabilities, and with this we're collecting a huge amount of data, building up digital twins, and diagnosing the health of the battery and health of the charging infrastructure based on the charging process. With that, even collecting enough data if there is fleets to be able to ensure a more reliable fleet planning and enable the fleet operator to plan the routes in a way that these routes are driven without any problems. Another topic about reliability and trust of the people is what can we do with accidents, with autonomous driving. We are hearing about some manufacturers which are not taking this enough seriously, but others are taking it much better. But the question is, okay, we can't really reduce the amount of accidents of zero, but maybe we can save, even in case of accident, the lives of the people. So how can we win a few milliseconds? How can we win a few nanoseconds in some cases? And how can we change the situation in a way that even if an accident is happening, then we will still be able to save the people. Our research project, it's even supported here in Bavaria with our partners, is tackling exactly with this question: how can we integrate all the sensors? How can we ensure that we bring the car in a situation which is more safe for all the passengers? The second topic is the electrification and smart ecosystems. They will be needed in the future, and I think we will get used to them in the future, but we are just not there yet. We need to develop many smart systems and ecosystems to get there. So what we do for this? I have a small teaser for that.
On our combined journey, we are faced with some of the biggest challenges of our time. Our major advances in technology have resulted in our natural resources being at stake. We are now at a crossroads. Are we ready to change our mindset, change our behavior, and create a positive impact? Are we letting things slip through our fingers? Or are we willing to take matters into our own hands? At Akkodis, we embrace change. Change is the opportunity for our disruptive ideas to emerge. It is our opportunity to innovate. We see ourselves as part of an ecosystem of a bigger scheme, where single actions can create synergies, capable of unleashing meaningful change and impacting the course of the future. The Akkodis Smart Battery is a result of this mindset. Unlike current battery technologies, the Akkodis Smart Battery combines different battery chemistries and cell types, enabling it to charge various different devices and to easily adopt new technologies. Need to use your car battery later in the day in your electric scooter? No problem. The modular system means inter-device replacement. Discharged modules can be exchanged with the charged ones from powering stations, or even from a home storage unit, which means no more extended charging periods and a quick establishment of second life usage. This small, lightweight system also means no dragging of large e-vehicle batteries when driving from A to B. At Akkodis, these ideas shape our thinking and drive us to innovate mobility.
Engineering a smarter future together.
So what do we think of a smart ecosystem? It's one part of a battery. I think we'll talk a bit about this longer. The question is, do we need really to carry our huge batteries all the time with us? How we can ensure that we utilize less resources and still achieve the same goal? And that's the smart solution. I'm getting back to my 1,000-mile question from the beginning. Yes, you can drive 1,000 miles, not in one piece. If the complete ecosystem is, if the complete environment is reliable enough so that you can do that without having to bother too much how you can do that, it shouldn't be a problem at the end. And that's what we want to achieve with our ecosystems. We have the battery to be able to extend our range. We can use the same battery for other appliances. We can use AI to diagnose our ecosystem to make more reliability. We can integrate it in our green energy generation from our rooftop, for instance. And of course, we have services to ensure that we have tested and validated all the charging infrastructure, making it possible to be reliable enough that all people gain trust here. We also ensure that if someone is using trucks or bigger appliances, we have a ready solution which we can buffer a smaller, weaker network to ensure even megawatt charging for a truck in a remote place. So those are all parts of a full ecosystem which we ensure for this. And our battery is not only here on pictures, we have some examples of it. My colleagues designed this. And you can see it also in our booth with some appliances and some versions, how we can try it out. Thank you, Tina. So how we proceed from this point? We have some additional ideas how we can proceed to ensure even more reliability. One solution which is very close to realization, actually, it's being used in Hanover, it's being used in some truck appliances, is our energy buffer, which is done with our partners together and which can be already ordered to ensure that we have up to 1 megawatt charging solution, even on a network which has only 80 kilowatts power, with buffering enough energy to charge the trucks. Another solution, what we're working on at the moment, is a cloud connection for charge module controllers and the control electronic for these solutions. So it all comes up to a common environment, a common ecosystem. A part of this ecosystem is our EVA Charge. The EVA Charge is a controller which is continuously being developed further, which is already working in many high-power charging solutions, and can be licensed, can be both for solving this charging for both charging equipment and vehicle side. The further topics what we do with this charging equipment is to ensure bidirectional charging, coming to this point, and also to network it to the big data, to AI evaluation of how reliable the systems can be. And coming to this reliability, so how can we buffer energy? we have seen the big energy buffer, but it's an expensive solution for normal users, for everyday users. It can be used by big users, but what can we do as normal citizens to ensure that we have a reliable network? It's always this kind of fear, okay, what happens if everyone is driving electric? Will we have enough electricity? The very brute force solution is building more power plants, but that's not a smart solution. Our smart solution is to support the network and give more energy with supporting the network with the batteries which are already existing, which are in our vehicles, which are in our smart charging solutions, and which are maybe not being used all the time with their full power. So our DERIVE Smart Solution project, research project, is working exactly on this topic. What are the possibilities to support the network, which is acceptable also for the users? It's not disturbing and it's acceptable, but still sufficient to use a good network saving possibility. Another interesting point for autonomous driving is people moving on events. Our colleagues worked on building the U-Shift concept. This is a vehicle which can be seen in the German Gartenschau in Mannheim. And you can get in this vehicle and try it out till October this year. So I think it's a very interesting opportunity to see a driverless vehicle walking or driving around with many passengers. The third hypothesis is that augmented reality and virtual reality is reshaping the world. So we can't have only the things what we have built up, like these examples, but we can already have a very fast sneak peek if the users are liking something or not liking something, and we can also ensure that we have a faster and more efficient learning method. One of the utilization of VR is our training environment for high voltage, which is used internally and externally. It doesn't need any high voltage equipment. The trainees are not in danger of the 1000 volts being there and can try out with a dry run with our virtual equipment, which is a great possibility. We also have some other training modules, and this is a good utilization of these technologies. Another possibility is showing possible show cars, use cases, products in the virtual world without having to give out a lot of money to build those as a concept, but already having a very realistic feeling on how do these look like. And one of concepts which have been shown otherwise, but it has been built up really as an end product as well, has been built by our colleagues, can be seen as a presentation here in the fair as well from BMW, is the iVision D concept, which has been also built by our colleagues in the car concept part of Akkodis. And we have a small outro as well as there. The car can actually be seen on our booth here in the fair. So you can just sit in and try out how the feeling is. It's integrating our smart battery and contributing to our ecosystem. As a conclusion, if we want a bright future, we can move mountains. We need to create the ecosystem which is enabling this, and Akkodis does enable this with our enthusiastic engineers. Thank you.
starten wir. Okay, so thank you everyone for listening to Karoly's insights here on projects we do. And we will now follow up with an expert panel here. My name is Friedrich. I'm leading the marketing and communications team for Akkodis, and I have invited here for an expert panel to give you more ideas about our battery innovation system, what smart ecosystems mean for us, but also that urban lifestyle vehicle you have just seen and we built in our workshops. So I have all the engineering R&D teams with me here to discuss this in detail. So stay with us for this expert discussion. And I'm just quickly introducing, so you know Karoly now, our Vice President for E-Mobility and Mobility. We can also go one slide further. Then it's my utmost pleasure to have Niels-Erik Meyer with me, who's our Department Director for E-Mobility and Energy. Welcome, Niels, and thank you for joining us on this panel. We have Tina Angerer with us, our Head of Battery, who has put a lot of effort in developing the smart battery system and the battery by itself. And it's my pleasure to have you with us, Felix. Felix Jakob is our Director of Akkodis Research. And hereby, I will like to kickstart the discussion with you. So it will be a bit more an interactive format right now. So we heard already about smarter, about more sustainable, but for starting the discussion, I would like to learn from you as an expert team. What's your vision of mobility, and especially of urban mobility, where this concept is made for? Karoly, what's your ideas?
So I think in the future we will be used to the technologies where there is at the moment some reluctance. So we are now used to how we are refueling our cars, we are used to how we are using them, and there is a lot missing yet from these ecosystems. I think in the future we will be used to using these ecosystems, swapping, filling, just plugging in like our mobile phones. I think it has been 10 years ago with the Nokias. It has been a very different world. I don't know if anyone is remembering that anymore.
True, so change and transformation is moving faster and faster. And Niels, what's your ideas about future of mobility?
Yeah, I think we have to change the mindset. At the moment, everybody wants to drive a big car and a big SUV and drive with this in the city, and the urban mobility won't work with big SUVs. We have to think about smarter, and smarter means maybe smaller mobility and use more smaller devices like e-scooters, like city scooters, and smaller urban lifestyle vehicles. So that's why we think about the vehicles we see at our booth and the ecosystem.
Interesting point of view. And smarter is smaller. Does it also occur to batteries?
It's easier to drive a smaller car, a smaller mobility system with battery energy. Make everything easier. So and especially for urban mobility, could be a solution to reduce the traffic in the cities, to reduce the CO2 topics in the cities.
Yeah, thank you for your opinion here. Tina, I'd be curious to learn about your vision. What's your ideas?
Well, I think sustainability comes with standardization, so we'll have to have many players come together to really establish then a standardized system. Then also for the mobility sector and generally, it's considering different aspects of it. So that's what I think must be our goal. Realistically, what my vision for the future is more also is automotive parking and maneuvering. Mm-hmm. There may have been some accidents which may have been prevented if we would have something like that.
We can all relate to this, I guess. So easier parking and more sustainability. Yeah. And Felix, what's your vision for the future. As a research director, I think you are talking a lot about innovation. I'd be really curious to learn about what's your idea.
Yes. No, basically I agree to what has been said already. When I think about the future, I think we should have a more smarter mobility and on-demand mobility. I think autonomous driving will be one of the topics which will be something we are facing off. It will allow us a lot of more concepts, mobility concepts. I don't know if everyone will have their own car in the future, but it will have a mobility service. At least that's what I hope for the big cities. Yeah. And yeah, we have to be open for that and to shape the future together.
Thank you. And hereby we move to the next question. So we will tackle several topics in the next 20 minutes that we still have for this discussion. So in general, I'd be curious to learn more about the smart battery and the technical details behind. So why is this battery disruptive in general? Why is it an innovation? And what's new about it compared to other batteries? Maybe Tina, you can start explaining a bit about what the ideas and the concept behind were.
Yes, definitely. So what's new and innovative about this standardized battery module that we're proposing is that you can combine different cell chemistries as well as different cell types. So you can have in the standardized battery module, accordingly, various properties. You can change the properties of your smart battery depending on your needs in your applications. And then, as we saw previously in the video as well, is you can have it in various applications. So, for example, if you have an application then which needs more power, we can have a performance module, for example. And then when you have an application where you need like high cyclability, you can have a long life module. We also have a base variant, and we're also right now also conceptualizing an LTO module actually, which is then capable of fast charging. So you can have different cell chemistries. You can also have different cell types, cylindrical, prismatic, pouch. Everything can fit into the battery module. And then we have an intelligent battery management system, BMS, in the battery module itself that can communicate to the various applications accordingly. And then, that's what the most important aspect of the battery module itself is. Niels wanted to talk a bit more about the whole ecosystem then?
Yeah, so I think the chemistry is a different chemistry, different power types. That's a very important thing for the future because, as I mentioned before, if we use an e-scooter or a city scooter, we don't need a high power module which I can use for driving a car. So with this one line here, our basic module, I can drive an e-scooter 250 kilometers. Nobody is doing it. So we have to think about smarter ideas, how we can use the right battery system for the right vehicle, but we have to use the same standardized connectors and standardized sizes, and that's the main thing. Why we can use it for the whole ecosystem. And no matter if it's a vehicle, if it's a scooter or something like that, or I can use it in my home storage as well. And that's the interesting thing. So I can use it in home storage at home. Can charge it by my solar panels. So we're working together with partners for it to work on this concept to charge it, not just at home or in the cities with charging stations, and that's the idea. So we can swap it very fast. I can drive to a swapping station, change it, put the empty one in to charge it, and take in full battery system out of it, and that's the idea behind the whole ecosystem.
Sounds like an idea that makes our life easier in the future, also smart one. And when we have one of these batteries, they are also integrated in our urban lifestyle vehicle. How much range does it add?
So at the moment at our ULF, urban lifestyle vehicle, and at our booth we have a fixed integrated battery with 6 kilowatt hours, and we use 2 of our basic modules with each 3.5 kilowatt hours. So we can go into up to 13 kilowatt hours, and without our batteries, it drives about 60 to 70 kilometers. With our batteries, we came up to 150 kilometers. So it's a city vehicle, so drives up to 45 kilometers per hour, so you can drive it with 15 years. It's not just with a normal driver license, so it's for use as well. And yeah, that's another smart thing.
Okay, thank you for these data, also I think relevant for our audience. And now as we moved a bit more towards the ULF, as you called it, so our urban lifestyle vehicle, I'd be interested, maybe also from you, Karoly, what role does design and concept play in engineering, but also for like fostering new mobility concepts?
Yeah, well, our design and concept is basically building futuristic vehicles, showing a first use case, a first idea of the things. It's basically applied art. It's an art which is meant for inspiring engineers in which direction the future could be developed, and that's, I think, the biggest advantage. If someone is trying to make this concept, we are inspiring with that and showing that we have an idea for the future.
And can you tell us a bit more about the urban lifestyle vehicle? We heard already it's an urban vehicle, but yeah, how should I use it? Where do we see it?
So basically the idea is using in the cities, as Niels already said. The idea is that we have a higher user base than with a normal vehicle, so the limitations the vehicle have are at the same time a certain advantage, a huge advantage in the cities. You won't see it on the open roads outside too much, but in this case it's also an idea for the future to inspire the new generations of engineers also on our side, and also all over the world in what direction we are thinking, how do we wish to ensure a sustainable future.
So from inspiration, we move to innovation. And there, I would also like to raise the same question to you, Felix. Working on several projects related to AI, autonomous driving, but also maybe future traffic systems. I guess concept cars might also play a role in our research department, or what's your opinion on it?
No, exactly. I mean, concept vehicles are actually a proof of concept. It's innovation, and when I look at innovation is like development, is like the future application. The attention with a concept vehicle is not to create a new vehicle which we bring on the market and to influence it, but to, as Karoly said, like to inspire not only the engineers but the whole industry to bring new ideas and to say like, hey, maybe we have to think out of the box and to try new things. The e-mobility is changing. If you go on this fair, everyone is talking about e-mobility, charging and all this kind of things. So it will change, and we have to come up with new solutions and to bring new things. So innovation is key. And there's a really favorite quote, and I mentioned it already somewhere, but Steve Jobs once said, innovation is the difference between follower and leader. You know, if you want to lead the industry, if you lead something, you need to do innovation. Otherwise, you're just following the others. So concept vehicles and concepts are key for the industry.
And for fostering imagination. So thank you very much for describing this from an innovative perspective. And then one topic also mentioned by several of you before, but it's the topic of sustainability. So of course, a lot of talks, a lot of technologies presented are tackling sustainability. But I would like to learn from you, like how are you considering the relevance of a sustainable transition of mobility, and how far are we also in proposing ahead of time solutions? So Niels, you mentioned before also like the smaller is smarter. Does it link to sustainability?
Yeah, of course, because as I mentioned before, we drive big SUVs and so on with a range of 800 kilometers or something like that. Who needs it? Karoly mentioned it in his note. Your daily drive is up to 15 kilometers, maybe 100 kilometers, but not more. And but every day we use a battery with 800 kilometer range, but nobody need it, and I think that's the problem, because we need all the resources in the car, and why we build all the resources in the car if we don't need it? We can use smaller battery systems in this case, and maybe use something like our concept as range extender if I really need more range. And so if we go to smaller cars or even big cars with smaller battery systems for the daily use, we would save so many resources, and that is a very big point and very important point for the future.
And Karoly, you also leading powertrain systems teams, so there has been a lot of change over the last years. How do you consider like sustainability, and what are your teams working on also in this direction?
Yeah, so not so long time ago, a lot of teams have been working on combustion engines in a company. That's also a change what we needed to cope with, and we actively retrained our people to be able to work on e-mobility topics, so that we can cope with the new challenges. And we are really willingly wanting to go in this direction to push really new innovation. And we have the challenges with developing new batteries, with integrating new and more efficient powertrain systems, which are sustainable, which are consuming less resources, and which are still having enough range what we need for the everyday use. Another very big topic, what I just said in the presentation, is we are developing a lot of solutions to make more reliable ecosystems, so that we don't have to think about how will I get to my next holiday, or how will I get to my customer who's living far away. But it's just a convenience that I drive away, I top up if I'm taking a coffee and drive further, and I don't need to think about it, and I don't need to bother on activating my charging solutions.
Okay, so making it easier, also more accessible to use sustainable solutions.
Exactly. Convenient and reliable. That's
okay. The 2 points to remember.
More important point.
And we also have one big topic about circular economy. Tina, you talked a bit already about like standardization.
Yes.
Does it link to circular economy as a topic? And you talked also about resources being used. How is this reflected in a battery concept?
Yeah, exactly. So right now, what's also important, or an important topic, we have various battery systems. We have a battery system in the car, then we have a energy storage at home, probably in your scooter, and also maybe a power pack for on the go. But we want to standardize it so that you can use it in these various use cases, so that you can also use your resources in a more sustainable way. And that's exactly where it comes back. This is the important aspect of the Akkodis Smart Battery, to really emphasize this application of it. Yes.
Thank you. And Felix, any examples of a research project where we're also tackling circular economy, resources, or overall sustainability?
I mean, there are a lot of topics, and we do have a lot of research topics challenging this question. In general, when I go back to your original question, where we are standing, we haven't solved it. There is a lot to do in the near future, and we have to ask ourselves, what can we do? Now we talk about e-mobility, electrifying everything, but it's not the answer. It's just one step to it. So we have to think about, where do we get the energy from? And of course, we do have a research project where we collect the wind energy and put it in H2 storage in order to use it in some other cases. We think about, we have another project where we try to win H2 in the waste burning process, which is not green energy, it's purple energy, but still it's something which is ongoing, and we have to look at this and see what's the potential in it. That's what the research called, so we have to look at it, we have to analyze it. There are a lot of things. We do a lot of AI topics. It's about optimizing. I mean, we do have the mobility as a concept in general, but maybe we can rethink it and to, I don't want to say shared, but on demand, to say like we're optimizing things when we're transporting cargoes. We have some project where we do autonomous driving and to optimize the cargo transport in a harbor environment. So there's a lot of things which we need to challenge. I think Akkodis, we are an engineering provider. We are a partner for those kind of challenges. It's not solved yet, but we're on the journey to it.
That's also what we like, right? Like solving challenges.
We're all engineers, and we like challenges, right? I mean, if we talk about the standard work, yeah. But we like challenges. And yeah, there is one.
See heads nodding here, so I guess you agree. And as we are approaching the end of this keynote, I would like to raise one last question, maybe more as an outlook. So this IAA had lots of innovations. If you're coming back in 2 years, what's your wish that has changed in mobility and you'd like to see here? Starting with you, Karoly.
So I would like to see a lot of customers of us in the future, and I would like to see how we're really brave to address the topics of the change and not always thinking if it should change.
Good answer. Niels, what would you like to see?
I would like to see more cars driven by our battery system.
I like that, yeah.
To add something, especially the U-shift as people mover on the IAA with our battery system would be great.
Let's discuss with DLR, but I think partners are here, so the battery is here too, so no obstacles. And Tina, what's your wish for the next years in mobility?
What Neil said, definitely, but I want to see more standardization, going back to that, and companies, I think, will have to work together to realize that. So maybe we can see that at the next IAA, that something went towards that direction in an innovative way.
Even stronger collaboration. I like that too. And Felix, one wish for the next year.
I mean, I totally agree that we want to see more customer activities ongoing, and we're involved. But let's say in 2 years, I want to see things which we consider today as innovation. I want to see them as solutions in 2 years, and then challenging the next step. That would be really great.
I know some quantum computing projects working on right now. Is that something we can see in 2 years?
Well, we do have quantum computing activities, and we are already working on client application on this. The time of quantum computer will come. We are preparing for that. I don't think it will change mobility in the next 2 years, but it will be the innovation of the upcoming years. But let's say autonomous driving, I think on today's fair, you don't see too much of autonomous driving, but there's so much ongoing outside. It will have a huge impact on it, and it will change the way we travel. I think customer experience will be more of a topic, because we will be less busy driving our car on the autonomous, on the autobahn or on the highway. There's a lot of things, but yeah, would be great to see more stuff like this in 2 years.
So thank you so much for sharing your ideas with us, and also from you, the audience. We would love to discuss your ideas about the future, how we can make them happen, how we can maybe help you with engineering solutions, or also just have a chat. So still tomorrow you can find us at the booth. But with this being said, I would really like to thank our experts and thank you for listening.
Well,